check it out. I am back. Happy Hallowillow week, because I'm going to be calling this week Hallowillow because of my baby, Willow, who I think she's hiding, but I know she'll make an appearance because every time I make a video, she makes an appearance. Actually, I see her. She's walking around, smelling things. So, first up, I know it's crazy, but I have to kind of do it this way. I have my Buffy the Vampire Slayer dress on. It's got the stake and the scythe. And the back is what I really love. It's the bee, bee for Buffy, and it's freaking awesome. And it's poofy, because they have a poofy slip. And some shoes. Are they not the cutest little Mary Janes ever? I think so. I have to doll up for Hallowillow. Speaking of, hi, come here. Come here, Sad. Hello, here I am. Happy Hallowillow. She has her Halloween collar on. It's right here under all the floof. There it is. It's a bow tie with pumpkins and stuff. She's a good girl. Alright. As promised. Oh, one more thing. Poison earrings. Because, it's murder time. So, she's sitting on my notes. Let's talk Delphi. Alright, so this morning I put up a post in my community tab saying that I was going to be doing this today because over the last 7 days they've been in court, trying to prove that Richard Allen is the murderer of Abby and Libby, where, I really think they have the wrong man. I mean, I'm like 90% sure they have the wrong man, but I'm just gonna say this because legally, even if he's not the man, they do not have enough evidence. This case is drowning, flooded in reasonable doubt. Like, I don't think any sane jury could convict a man when there's this many holes in the case. Alright, to start off, I just want to say, they found no DNA. None. Zero. Zip. I mean, Abby's blood, Libby's blood, that was it. You're gonna tell me that a guy who works at CVS is some sort of criminal mastermind who can murder 2 little girls and not leave a single speck of DNA. I mean, even Coburger left a speck on the knife sheath. You know what I mean? Like, nobody, unless they're like, I honestly kind of think it could be that Odinist cult. I'm not sure. But, the fact that there's no DNA is, like, amazing to me. I don't understand how 2 little girls can be violently murdered with some sort of sharp object, they're saying, and leave nothing. Leave nothing. Like, not a hair, but a hair. Let me get into that. But yeah, no DNA. There was, however, a single piece of female hair with the root attached in Abby's hand, and not just in her hand, it was wrapped around her fingers. So who's the woman that she was grabbing onto, who maybe was stabbing her in the neck? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a female's hair, and the freaking prosecution didn't even bother to test it. Like, are you kidding me? So, the defense had to say to them, alright, go and get this fucking hair tested and tell me who it came from. Because it's gotta be Abby's, Libby's, or maybe Kelsey's, because Abby was wearing Kelsey's sweatshirt that day. Kelsey's Libby's older sister. But the only other person it could be would be a female involved in the murders. Like, they didn't even test it. Like, what the fuck? This case is so messed up. These cops and prosecutors did such a terrible job. And let me go on. I have a whole page full of like little notes from the first 7 days that are making me believe that he is not guilty. Alright, so they the prosecution's big thing. Here, Willow's calling me. You want to be on the video, baby? Wait, look, you guys. I have to show you. Look at this. Oh, your baby. What doing? Say hello. I'm so cute. I want belly rubs. Alright, but mommy's busy right now, Will. You gotta just wait a second. Sorry. Alright, I need a freaking tripod. Alright, so, this bullet, right? Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. They found a bullet on the grass in between the bodies of Abby and Libby. And, you know, the cop was on the stand talking about how he, like, saw something, like, he said glittering. I'm thinking more like glistening in the ground, like, you know, he could cut, and so he went over, he kind of like brushed the leaves aside and found this bullet, right? And it is a bullet that was never fired, okay? It's a unspent round. That is their only physical proof that Richard Allen was even there, okay? Because they say that this, you know, when they finally went around and searched Richard Allen's house, he had a lot of weapons, and he happened to have a 6-hour 40 caliber, and that bullet, they're saying, was at one point cycled through that gun, but not fired. And the girls were stabbed, they weren't shot. So this bullet, the only thing they have is a ballistics report. And today, the ballistics lady was on the stand for 7 hours. The defense, I mean, the prosecution was just asking her, like, about the methods of how, you know, the methods of how she tested the bullet. And then the defense kind of ripped her the fuck apart. They said, like, it was not fired. Or rather, the crime scene bullet was not fired, but the test bullet that they used to compare it was fired. So there's a difference in the way that this bullet is going to look. And the conclusion of her testing, she actually said on the stand, is subjective. Alright? Not 100% accurate. It's not like a fingerprint like some people say. It is a subjective test. They cannot prove beyond a reasonable doubt that that is the gun that made those marks. However, there's one other thing regarding this friggin' bullet that pisses me off, okay? Richard Allen lives in Delphi, has always lived in Delphi, and has walked those trails and those woods a million times. Who's to say he dropped that bullet on the day with Abby and Libby? He could have dropped a bullet any fucking time, alright? Like, they cannot prove it. They can't prove it. Okay, so let's get past the bullet, because that's the one that really bugs the shit out of me, because that is what is in the probable cause affidavit. That is why they arrested him. That is their fucking proof. And it's not fucking proof, man. It's not. Alright, next up. Oh, one more thing about the bullet. The chain of custody is sort of sketchy. Like, they took one photo of the bullet on the ground. No one recorded or took photos of them removing it and, like, bagging it and all that stuff, marking it for evidence. None of that fucking exists. They took one picture of the bullet, then they say they took it, put it in a bag, and put it in evidence, okay? What the fuck is wrong with these cops? They should have been either video recording or taking photos of everything constantly. They had photos, of course, but the bullet, like, they just coincidentally got one fucking picture of it. I don't believe it. It could have been planted. Now, I don't really think it was planted, but I do think there's a strong possibility it was not from his gun, or he dropped it at another time. Willow, she's on her scratching post, and it's driving me insane. Hey! Can you not do that? You're making too much noise. Hey! Too much noise. Hey! Stop it! Come here. Do you want a treat? Get off there. Come here, I'll give you a treat. Treat? She's looking at me like, what? Alright guys, you're gonna see my crackhead cat with her cat crack. What is this? What is this? Are you excited? Are you gonna stop making fucking noise while mommy's trying to make a video? Alright, here you go. Here's some treats. You be a good girl, okay? You guys want to see? Here she goes with her treats. Say hi. I so happy I got my treats. I'm a brat. Very spoiled, but it is HALLOWILLOW, so we have to, you know, celebrate her. Her birthday is in November, so I don't know the exact date. I just know that she was 5 weeks when I got her, and I got her 5 weeks. You know, I got her in December, the end of December. Okay. So, let's talk about... I talked about the hair, I talked about the bullet. The cause of death is not a gunshot wound. The cause of death is a stab. And it's like Abby had like 1 slash. Libby, though, on the other hand, had like 4 going across her neck and another big like laceration on her shoulder. Also, I'm sure you guys have heard, Libby was 100% naked, and Abby was wearing Libby's clothing and her own clothing. She had like 2 bras on and like, you know, Libby's pants, Libby's sweatshirt, and all of the clothes that were on her were wet. So at some point, dude made them walk across the creek in fucking February. Can you imagine how cold that winter must have been? Oh my god, like, whew. And I say he because I'm talking about the murderer. I don't know if it was Richard Allen. I really do not think so. Alright, let me go on. Okay, the witnesses. Let's talk about the people who say they saw Richard Allen that day on the bridge, or they saw some variation of, you know, the person, the bridge guy. They have all these fucking witnesses, and every one of them describes him in a different way. Nobody, not one person, got it right. Nobody said, you know, blue jacket, jean, nobody. People said black jeans, black sweatshirt. People said he had bushy hair. People said he was beautiful and looked like he was in his 20s. It's not fucking Richard Allen, dude. Richard Allen is 5'5", kind of stocky. Like, not... He's not fat by any means, but he's like stocky, you know what I mean? He's a typical dude, and he's short, he's tiny. And, you know, we've all seen the video of Bridge Guy, and if that is Richard Allen, alright, I'm gonna get into that. Let's see. Oh, the witness who said that he was muddy and bloody. She's a witness who said she was driving past where he would be walking to leave the crime scene and go to his car. She was driving, so she was not like outside standing near him or passing him walking. She was in her car, so, you know, a distance away. She said he was muddy and bloody and looked like he was in a fight, right? But this was 3 days after they found the bodies, and she was questioned 5 times, and she did not mention the muddy and bloody until like the 4th interview or some shit like that. Basically, she did not say muddy and bloody in the 1st, 2nd, 3rd. Like, she kept, every time they interviewed her, she added something to it. So, like, she's fucking full of shit and wanted 5 minutes of fame, I guarantee you. And they ripped her apart on the stand. Well, the defense did. She looked like she was lying. And apparently, like, the people who were watching, I wish they had cameras, you guys, I wish. But the people that are reporting on it said that the jury looked like they didn't believe a word she was saying because she was, like, completely not credible. Sorry, I was talking, it's giving me dry mouth. Alright, so next up. Let's talk about Keegan Kline for a minute second here. We all remember, like, a year ago, like, when they put out this second sketch of Bridge Guy. Like, they had, I'll put up photos to remind you guys, but they put up the photo of the older man with the scruffy and the hat that I would kind of think the Bridge Guy might look like. And then they had a second sketch that came out, and the guy looks like Justin Timberlake. That's what everybody's saying. He has like a wavy hair, and like he really looks like he's in his 20s. He has no facial hair, and yeah, so people were describing someone that looked like that, and someone that looked, you know, kind of like Richard Allen, but nobody said that is the man I saw. Nobody, okay? None of them can be 100% sure, and I think the Muddy Bloody lady is full of shit, personally. Alright. Keegan Kline, however, you guys remember after that sketch came out, the second one, And they were running around the dude's like town that he lived in. I can't remember the name of it. Maybe it'll come to me. But they ripped apart his house. They questioned everybody. He's actually in jail because he's like a complete pedophile. They found a whole bunch of child, porn in his house. Confiscated everything. They took all of his devices. And he was like, okay, the day after they went missing, Kelsey, Libby's older sister, went on to Instagram and was talking to the last person in Libby's DMs, okay? And that was the Anthony Shots profile with it was the catfishing thing, like Keegan Klein catfished Libby. And he was talking to her the day before they disappeared. And so Kelsey started talking to him in the chat, and he said, "Oh my god, I can't believe they're missing. Like, that's horrible. I was supposed to meet her that day, but they didn't show up." So does that mean he was fucking there waiting for them? There's also on his phones, he's got multiple phones, but on one of them he's searching for a gas station in Delphi that's right near the Moon and Hybrid trails. So, granted, they're not saying they have like phone pings and shit to prove that he was in the area, but he has his alibi is that he was like in Vegas or something, but he also has no one to corroborate that. Nobody in Vegas said, "Oh yeah, I saw him." Okay, so you know what I mean. His alibi is not solid, and he's in jail. He's in for like, I think 37 years because of all the corn, and the reason he was using that Anthony Shots profile with a photo of a guy who's like freaking drop dead gorgeous, and he was like a male model from Alaska or something, but super handsome. And I can put that up. I keep forgetting I can show you guys. So yeah, that's what he looks like, or the catfish photo looks like, and that's who Libby thought she was talking to. But she was really talking to this guy who's Keegan Klein. And I'm sorry, like, I don't want to, like, call anybody fat. But dude is, he's living large, let's put it that way. And he just looks like a creeper, and knowing what he did makes me look at him and think, ew, I can't help it. And, like, he did an interview from jail, like, on the phone, and he's like, yeah, he told the whole story, like, I feel so bad, I was the last one to talk to her on Instagram, blah, blah, blah. That Anthony Shots profile, he was using that to chat with little girls, like, Libby's age, in the area, and, like, flirting to the point where he was getting them to send him nude pictures. That's where he was getting all of his corn from. So, that's why he's in jail for a long fucking time. But I still don't believe that he is not involved in this. Because, I mean, why would he be looking up a gas station in Delphi? And why would he tell Kelsey he was going to meet them, but they didn't show up? Were they supposed to meet him at the gas station? Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't get it. So, female hair, the witnesses, Keegan Klein. Okay, let's talk about what they've done to Richard Allen in his, since he's been arrested, right? During his incarceration, they have moved him from a county jail, which is where you go before trial. Like, if you're not convicted of anything, you're charged, but you're waiting for your trial, you're in county jail. That's how it works. But because this is such a high-profile case, they shoved Richard Allen in a state prison in solitary confinement. And reports come back saying that and I will show you, like, look at this photo of him. Does he not look like he's emaciated and going insane? Because he looks like he's 40 pounds lighter than when he was arrested, and he just looks like shit. He got stains on his shirt, and yeah, like, and so they were saying he was like just doing crazy, like eating paper. And there's a theory going around that the prison guards wore these patches on their uniforms that said, like, "In Odin we trust." These prison guards were Odinists, this. And there's a theory out there that this was a ritualistic murder done by these, cult people, basically. These Odinists, or Odinites, I don't know what they're called, but there's a theory, because little Abby had a boyfriend, and her boyfriend's dad was a suspect, because he looked like he could be bridge guy, and also he lives in the area, and also big giant criminal record, and also, coincidentally, a fucking Odinist, alright? And there were branches laid across the girls' bodies. It does not look like they were there for them to, whatchamacallit, like, they weren't put on them to hide the bodies, because it was literally just a few long sticks, and they were in weird shapes, and people said they were symbols for Odinism, which I don't know, but I'll show you the photo of the diagram of how the sticks were laid out on the girls' bodies. They drew up a diagram so you could see. I don't know anything, but apparently the shapes that they're laid out, it's got something to do with Odinism. And Odinism is a white supremacist religion, alright? And these prison guards were wearing these patches, and apparently they were threatening and harassing Richard Allen, telling him that he needs to confess so he can get out of the solitary confinement, and just driving him insane, okay? So the prison made the guards remove the patches, and they did, but one of them came back the next day with the fucking shit tattooed on his face, alright? I don't know what kind of prison this is, but I would think there's a dress code involved, and none of that would be acceptable. I would think he would just get fired, but apparently, no. He replaced his patches with face tattoos, and harassed Richard some more. So Richard Allen apparently has confessed to murdering Libby and Abby something like 61 times. And, the prosecution is, all over that. Oh, he's guilty, he's guilty, he's guilty. No, I'm sorry. When you're being forced into a room by yourself it's been 2 years, and one of his lawyers, he's not his lawyer anymore, but he was for a little while, he went in and saw the conditions, and he came out and said that man is absolutely innocent, and he's being treated like an animal, and it was so unfair, the way they were just, look at him, you can tell how bad the conditions were, and he was eating paper. The dude went nuts, and I think he started spewing this, I did it, just because he wanted to get it over with, and get the fuck out of that situation. Just put me in regular fucking jail, you know what I mean? So that's my theory on the confessions. I don't know for sure, but that's the way that I believe that came about. He was even telling his wife on the phone, his wife was like, stop talking, because he lost his mind, He said he did it with a box cutter, and now the prosecution's hanging on that because apparently some of the wounds look like they're, box cutter sized or some bullshit, but I'm sorry, I think it was a big ass ritual knife. That's what I think. Alright, yeah, and I've mentioned the Abby's dad thing, and the fact, okay, so the defense was going to bring in this whole Odinism theory and tell the jury. The judge blocked them from doing that. I'm sorry, what? You're telling this guy this is a fair trial, but you can't show other theories about how, why he's innocent because someone else did it? Really? This judge sucks ass. She is so far up the prosecutor's ass, it makes me sick. Objection sustained. Objection. It's just horrible, okay? Horrible. So the defense has a really hard job going on here because she's just so against everything they do. So they're actually coming up again trying to get that evidence in the courtroom, the Odinism stuff. They're trying it again. And, based on the sticks. And we'll see what happens because I don't think she's going to budge. This judge is horrible, you guys. Horrible. The thing about Bridge Guy, and a few witnesses said that he had, hair, okay? That video, he's so far away. I always thought it was a hat on his head, but when you really look at it, your eyes start to think, is it really a hat, or could that possibly be hair? Because if it's hair, it's definitely not Richard Allen. Because the dude has a buzz cut and his hair's gray. This is like brown. You can completely see the color. It is brown, and it looks like it could be a full head of hair or one of those hats with the snap in the front. So it's up for, you know, speculation. Alright. Alright, now here's the big shit. This is the part where my jaw hit the floor. I was watching Vinnie Politan last night. I'm going to show you a clip of the part that made me lose my mind. Alright? Check this out regarding Bridge Guy. I'm going to play it for you now. I'll be right back.
But for the jury that's looking at this, they don't get what we have, right? Which is the looped close-up image of this person. They get the whole thing.
Right. They get to see it once.
And that's it, Bob? Once? They see it once and that's it?
Once. And then when the reconstruction guy or the enhancement guy came on, they played it a second time. So that's all we saw. And what I'm suggesting is, and I'm curious as to what Barb's opinion is on this, and I think we probably talked about it outside of court. How does he make up that distance in that short period of time under the conditions that I talked about initially, which is he has to traverse that bridge.
Wait a minute. Wait, are you saying that it may not be the bridge man whose voice that is?
You cannot see his mouth move.
Wow. So is it possible someone that's on the other side of that bridge, and Barbara, what's on the other side of the bridge? Who would be there? Who would have access to that?
Private property. That's where the private property begins. There are some paths.
Whose private property is that?
It's the Weber property, and I believe at the time it was owned by his parents, but Brad Weber was living there. I believe now it is his property, but it is private property on the south end of that bridge.
Interesting. And so this video that we've been waiting for, like what was released is much clearer than what was shown. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, that is not what the video looks like. That image, that has been enhanced, and they've zoomed in on it. They've taken those frames of the video and they've enhanced it. So they got as close up, they got it as unblurry as they could get it. And that's what we've been seeing for all these years. It's not what the video looks like at all. I mean, that guy is off in the distance.
And what you're saying
people
is,
have asked, why isn't there more video? And
right.
There's no more of him to show. That's it.
And again, the distance and the time, significant here, because from what you saw, Bob, when you see the whole video, which again has not been made public, the amount of time that it might take for the bridge guy to be close enough to be heard on the video may or may not make sense to you, Bob? Is that what you're saying?
It doesn't. I just don't see, and again, it's hard to gauge distance, right? Because you're looking at him, and he's definitely in the background. But like, Barb, what do you think? Like, what would you estimate how far when we first see him? Because I'm telling you, I did not see him at all the first time that they played the video. The second time, I was diligently only looking.
But when that video begins, he is definitely some distance behind Abby. She seems to be sort of trying to hurry. She's looking down, trying to hurry off of the bridge to get to where Libby is, who's already off the bridge on that south side. But by the time the video is about to end, he definitely seems to have made up that distance. Either he's very familiar with that bridge and had no problem speeding up, or I suppose you could argue that there's another voice from somewhere else, because you don't see that man speaking those words on that video.
This is so different than what I expected. So different than what I expected. Our guests are staying with us. Still to come.
All right, I'm back. Alright, so, can you believe that shit? My jaw hit the floor. I mean, even Vinny Cavaltan was like, wow, like, that's huge. Because, and let me just reiterate, in case you guys missed the gist of what they were saying. Those two people that Vinny Politan is talking to were in the courtroom. The lady is the one she does the Down the Hill podcast. She's an expert on this case. And the guy is a defense attorney. He's not involved, but he's giving his advice, and he's been watching the trial as well. So, they are saying that Libby's video that she took on her cell phone where we see Bridge Guy is a 43-second long video, and they showed the whole thing unedited in the courtroom, okay? And when you see the video, Libby's obviously trying to make it look like she's not recording, because the phone is all over the place, and it's more like you can hear shit than see shit. You only see Bridge Guy for a second, and he is so far down the bridge behind Abby, alright? What we have seen of that video is zoomed in, like, max and enhanced, alright? In reality, dude was so far back behind them. So when Abby reaches the end of the bridge and gets to Libby, she says something that sounds like, is he still there? I don't know if they mean Bridge Guy. It seems like it, right? But then you hear Libby say, oh, there's no path down there. There's nowhere to go. And that's when the guy says, guys, Abby says hello, or hi, and then he says, down the hill. We've all heard the down the hill thing 50 million times, right? So, yeah. And then you hear the leaves rustling, and, you know, the video ends. My brain exploded when they said that guy was so far back up the bridge that in order for him to get that close to them within like a 43-second window, and it's not the whole time either, it's more like 20 seconds, it's literally like impossible. You see the way Abby's walking, looking down, you know, the photo that Libby took on Snapchat, she's looking down because that bridge is super old and it's like falling apart. And now they have it closed off. You can't even walk over it anymore because it's so fucking dangerous. It's 70 feet up there. It's like the treetops are next to you. It's insanely high. You have to watch your step. You have to look down at your feet and make sure you have to go slowly. There is like no way in the world Bridge Guy made up that distance in that short time between Abby saying, is he still there, and him being there and saying, guys down the hill. Like, it's fast. And we haven't seen that because they haven't showed us the whole video. The only thing they show us is that little enhanced clip on a loop and him saying, guys down the hill. Like, that's all they showed us. They didn't show us anything else. So hearing that come out of the courtroom, and Vinny Politan too, boom, right? Like, you don't physically see the man saying guys down the hill either. You don't see who says that. There could have been somebody on the opposite side of that bridge who popped out when they got there. That is who Abby said hi to, and that is who said down the hill. Maybe Bridge Guy was still way back there. Maybe if that's Richard Allen, he's literally doing what he said he was doing, watching the stocks on his phone, taking a walk, occasionally looking down at the fish. That is what he said in his original statement. And he said over and over and over again, he did not do this, okay? He was completely innocent. That was before they drove him insane in the prison. So, that is my theory on that. Okay. This one's great. So, you know how this took 5 years for them to even look at Richard Allen, even though Richard Allen went to the police, like, literally 2 days after he went himself to the police. He spoke to a guy named Dan Doolin, and he told him that he was there that day, I think he said between 1 and 3 or something. So right in that time frame, he told him exactly what he was wearing. He completely matches Bridge Guy. So, but Dan Doolin, after interviewing Richard Allen, made like a little file about his, statement with his name on it, and he wrote on there, cleared, as in he had nothing to do with this. Then he filed it somewhere, and it took 5 years for somebody to stumble on that file. So, yeah, after 5 years they found it, and, and then, this is a really fucking kicker, then they, once they've found this, Richard Allen file, they went and got a search warrant, searched his house, found the gun, connected it, through ballistics, and arrested him, okay? That, all happened once they found that, and coincidentally, this happened in October, like 3 weeks before the election for the sheriff, okay? And the guy who won was, not the guy who was already sheriff. That was Tobe Leazenby. And the new guy, I don't even know his name, but the new guy, when he got the position, he got a $30,000 a year raise. So, could this have been a situation where they found this file and they were like, oh my god, we can solve this case right now, it'll make people be so happy I'll get elected, and then he fucking did? I'm sorry, what? Do you know what I mean? Like, holy crap. Alright, Dan, sheriff, down the hill, blah blah blah. Alright. Then, my pages are stuck. Oh, the witnesses, one more time, going back to there's a bunch of different witnesses who described the vehicles in the area, and I went over this in my original Delphi video, which, literally, Delphi was the second case I ever made a video on this channel, and I went into detail about the different types of cars that they claim they saw in the parking lot that people normally park in to go for their walks on the Mona High Bridge. It's an old CPS building. It's closed now, but they use the parking lot there so that they can park and then go walking. And that is where Richard Allen parked that day. So there's a bunch of people who said they saw cars there, but not one single person said black Ford Focus. Nobody. They named all kinds of other cars that were completely different. Like, I remember someone saying a smart car, someone said a minivan, someone said a PT Cruiser. Those are so obvious. Like, no, you don't mistake a PT Cruiser for anything, and certainly not a Ford Focus. So that's another thing that drives me crazy. And we're coming to the end here. I know this has been kind of a long video. I didn't expect it to be this long, to be honest. I was just gonna do a quick update, but stuff just keeps coming out of my mouth. Alright. There is... Now, after Richard Allen went for his walk that day, he went home, cleaned up, and went to work. Got off work, came home to his wife, and went to bed like a normal fucking day. He has a rock solid alibi after he got home from the walk. Alright? Libby's cell phone that she used to take that video was an iPhone 6, and it was found underneath Abby's body. Libby's phone under Abby's body. Libby's clothes are also on Abby. Again, so weird. Libby, by the way, was naked, and like there was blood like all over her face, all over her neck, on her thighs, on her hands. You could tell that after she was stabbed, she like tried to stop the bleeding with her hands, and obviously could not. It was just the ground, they said, was literally saturated around them because they both laid there and bled out. Like it took between 5 and 10 minutes for them to die after those stab wounds. So can you imagine laying there just looking up at the sky knowing like this is the last 5 minutes I'm going to be alive? That's terrifying. And possibly looking at the face of the person who did it. And I don't think it was Richard Allen, but alright. The thing about Libby's phone and how it was found underneath Abby, they did a full download on the phone. You know, like they take your phone and they put it on some machine and it literally takes out everything. Every time you touch the screen, every time you go from lower ground to higher ground, it tells you altitude, it tells you locations, pings, everything on your phone, right? Libby's phone was, and they said these words exactly, manipulated by human hands at 4:30 in the morning. So, were they still out there at 4:30 in the morning? Like, I really don't think so. Oh, and also Abby had like a mark on her chin that almost looked like it was a tape across her mouth or something. Like, possibly, they didn't say for sure. But did they take them somewhere, do something, come back at 4 a.m. and then stab him? They killed him right there. They had to have, because of the blood puddle, right? Like, they didn't die somewhere else, so they weren't dumped there. They died there, but did they go somewhere else first and then come back? Because who the hell was trying to unlock Libby's phone with their fingers at 4:30 in the morning? Wasn't Richard Allen. He was in bed with his wife. Do you know what I mean? Like, what? That's another one that blew my mind. They didn't say anything about that in probable cause because it makes it look like he's numped the person that did this. So, yeah. Like I said, they said that it was manipulated with human hands. Somebody tried to unlock it, didn't have the code, and then just gave up. And it ended up it was under the small of Abby's back, and it was, thank God, not destroyed, but it was like covered with like humidity, sort of. But yeah, they were able to download the entire contents of that phone, and it was like, wow, that's fucking amazing. There was a point also that the jury asked a question about Richard Allen's hair, because everybody kept saying that the guy had like curly, wavy, like luxurious head of hair, and the jury actually asked them like what did his hair look like in October, or of February of 2017, and he's balding and he always has a buzz cut and his hair is completely gray. So, not wavy brown. It's, but the jury asked because there were so many witnesses that said that there was this guy with his hair, right? So, it was not Richard Allen. And then I said the thing about the bullet. So, basically, that's everything that I have so far, okay? This trial has been unfucking real. I've never seen a trial like this, ever. I am so mad they don't have cameras in that courtroom because I want to, see this happening with my eyes. But I have to rely on people that were there to tell me. But these people are coming out of that courtroom every day with legal pads that are full of notes because they're just because they want to make sure they report everything to us because we can't be there. So yeah, this is how it's gone so far, and every single day something happens where I'm like, he's not guilty. He didn't do it. Or if he did, they don't have probable cause. Or rather they don't have probable, or they have so much reasonable doubt. And you cannot convict somebody if you have even a little bit. It has to be beyond a reasonable doubt. And these jurors, they are not going to be able to do that. They just can't. Nobody can. You know what I mean? It just, wowzers, you guys. I cannot believe where this is going. So, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to ask you all to leave me some comments and let me know what you think. Do you think that Richard Allen is guilty? Or do you think that he is the wrong man? Do you have any sort of ideas about Odinism or who else it may have been that did this? What about Keegan Kline? He said he was supposed to meet them there. Was he waiting at the end of the bridge? Do you know what I mean? Is he the one who said those words, guys down the hill? We just thought it was Bridge Guy because he's in the video? There's no way to fucking know. It is reasonable doubt city. So, that's where I'm at, and I want you guys to leave me some comments. And I can't believe Willow is hiding, but on Halloween, she's gonna be a bat for Halloween. It's so fucking cute. She actually let me put it on her this year, so I will show you guys my little bat on Halloween day. And I will have my full Halloween look going on. Yeah, so that's about it for now. I love you guys. Thank you so much. Oh, also, I always almost forget. PayPal, Cash App, and Venmo. I'm going to put them on the bottom of the screen. I am a PayPal girl, really. But anything is appreciated, and you don't have to. I'm just saying, like, I'm putting it out there because every YouTuber does, and I just think I'm supposed to. It would be wonderful, don't get me wrong. I am broke as a joke, but I'm not begging in any way, shape, or form. I just want to make that clear. Alright, I love you all, and I will see you soon, because I will be making videos probably every day this week until Halloween, because it's HAPPY-HALLOWILLOW, and I am so intrigued by these cases. I'm probably going to do a video about Sarah Boone and Leilani Simon, because they have both been convicted, and I'm so fucking happy. But I'll be going over those cases with you guys in a different video, and I love you so much. Have a good day, night, whatever it is for you there, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.